Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first Spartan Gaming Podcast. My name is Trevor, and I'm joined here by Jared. Jared, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Man, I'm doing just fine. It's a great Sunday evening now. It's about 8 o'clock when we're recording this, and I'm just ready to get into this conversation. So the first thing that we're going to head into is just some general, esports news. In this first topic, I think this first topic's a pretty juicy one, honestly. The CSGO cheating scandal. So as most people will know, there's been a big cheating scandal come out for CSGO. Apparently there was some sort of spectator glitch that almost every coach was abusing in the professional scene for CSGO. And that's huge because there's a lot of money and a lot of big name brands in those competitions. And what are your initial thoughts on this? What is this cheating going to do to CSGO?
Well, I can only think over the years of exactly their history and everything that what they had to go through. There's been a lot of cheating scandals that has happened ever since the game basically started as an esports. Thank you so much, Jill, for being extremely loud. If you can't hear that, that's what it was. It was a door. Yeah, so before it, because about the previous cheating scandals, right? With CS:GO.
There's been a ton.
Yeah, I mean there is a ton of them, and whenever there is a cheating scandal, that person's banned from playing that particular sport, and they just Valve fixes it so that it doesn't happen again. Now that process has happened many times over the past 5-6 years, and getting to it now, I'm not surprised that there would be some kind of glitch that would happen and then those coaches would be banned for it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it needs to be looked into a little bit more. I know they're doing their job. It's basically what they're supposed to be doing. I just think, if they could probably, before they start doing it in esports again, they should probably, look into it a little bit more and be what kind of rules can we set so that this doesn't happen again?
Yeah, my only thing with it is that it kind of throws competitive integrity out the window for the past however many years that they've been using this, because it hasn't just been a recent thing. It's coaches who have moved on and are doing other things that come out yeah, everyone's cheating. It was a thing where they found out about it, and it was either don't use that and get beat, or use it to compete. And that just, it goes all the way back to 2016 of people using this thing. So it makes you think about all those down to the wire matches. What would be changed? Were both teams cheating? Was just one? These are things that we literally cannot know. I think in terms of CS:GO as an esport, it's gonna do a lot of damage, especially when you have a game like Valorant that people are calling the perfect game for something like this. A lot of those players have already been moving over. A lot of the coaches have too.
Yeah, I'm starting to see Valorant more on YouTube as a search result for past CS:GO players. You can see them, some of them have the title that talks about them and be I am a retired CS:GO player, and now I'm playing Valorant, and I want to see how this is. Even Summit1G said it was a former CS:GO player as his main title for his stream, for several Valorant streams. And, seeing them come over, it's pretty cool. Now, speaking of which, right, where Valorant pretty much has the same style as CS:GO, I think this is just Riot Games saying, we're trying to perfect an old game that hasn't really been perfect for a long time now. And it's pretty cool to me that they're doing this.
Yeah, I think in terms of esports, there's not even an established league for Valorant yet. Riot has released plans and things that they plan to do with Valorant, which has caused, big organizations to start getting into the space. Someone like Sentinels, They've had that team since basically Valorant was announced. People like Sinatra moving from Overwatch, coming off the MVP after winning Worlds, moving to a different game. Like that's how much Valorant kind of has. But in terms of like North American CS:GO will not be the same because all of the cheating that's been involved, and then just the opportunity of Valorant. You're seeing all of the players move over, not all, a lot of players move over, and it's causing this really cool like CS:GO versus like Valorant or Overwatch players within Valorant. It's kind of a cool dynamic to see, and like all the storylines that could come from that. But I mean, if you're a CS:GO player, a CS:GO fan, I would almost be worried with everything that's going on, just because, I mean, Riot's basically served this amazing game on a silver platter that everyone loves. So
Yeah.
that's really my opinion on that. Is like CS:GO players, just be wary of what Valorant may do to the scene in general.
Yeah, where matchmaking it becomes a lot harder to find a match because the player base starts to drop. Um, Voice crack. Wow. Again, and yeah, like just that kind of stuff. I mean, like you're probably not gonna find a match any quicker than you usually would. Um, that's kind of my take on it, because I know Valorant, it's getting a lot easier to find a match in that game because their player base is becoming a lot bigger nowadays. Before, I mean, the beta, like, it was just like a soft launch until you get onto Twitch and you get your key, and it's like, you know, I was actually excited for it for some reason. I don't know what intrigued me to get it, but it intrigued me so much. Once I started playing the beta, I loved it. And, hey, I mean, Trevor, you and I are playing it with a couple of friends, and we're hoping to possibly get that as an esport as well. But
Yeah, no, it's definitely fun. I never played CS anything like that, so I never had. I was always a big controller guy. Never really made that shift to PC until recently, but it was something that I was really excited for. It was just something about the game in general drew me to it as a completely new player. Like I was not one of those that they drew from previous fan bases to get. It was I saw this game for what it was, and I was like, wow, that looks really interesting. It made me pick up the keyboard and the mouse and to start like trying with that. It's been fun. It's been a fun experience. I like the game. I don't have a lot of opinions on it. I'm not very good. I just started playing games like this. I like it. It's fun.
yeah, same here. I appreciate it for its art. I appreciate what they're doing with it, and it's the whole saying of good artists borrow, great artists steal, where someone saw CS:GO and Overwatch and how popular those two were in esports and everything, and was like, what if we could take this and pretty much do a mashup of it? You're a CS:GO player that is going. You're getting into this game because Valorant pretty much has that style to it already, and then Overwatch, which is the whole cartoony kind of vibe that it gives off, and using the powers and the ultimate abilities and all that kind of stuff. They just combine all of that, and there you go. That's Valorant, and but it's weird. It's weird to like how that actually worked. I don't understand the science of it, but it's beautifully crafted, and I really like it.
Yeah. I think that pretty much gets that in terms of CS:GO, Valorant, and everything like that. This next one's big for me personally, just because of not how invested I am in the subject. I mean, Optic Gaming has allegedly been bought back by Hex. I mean, it's honestly, when I saw this news, I was scrolling through Twitter after I got out of class and like immediately started flipping out. Like this is something when he sold it and everything that happened. I mean, it just Optic Gaming has not been the same since. Even when he was still a part of Optic, it hasn't been the same. He kind of broke away, took a step back, focused more on himself, kind of thing, and other projects, and then finally when he went over to NRG, Optic was it was a shell, and that's what people called it. And for him to like, nothing has been confirmed. This is all alleged, but for him to have allegedly bought back Optic Gaming, which he's been on record to say that if he could buy one thing, he said it'd be Optic. He said he would buy Optic back. That's his baby. And for me, like there's just so many things that go in with this. Just to see Optic being in the hands of Hector again, just like it brings a smile to my face. Honestly, as a fanboy, I'm like, oh, that's nice, that's awesome. Jared, do you have anything before I dive even deeper into this rabbit hole? Do you have anything to add? Any experience with Optic?
I appreciate for what he's doing. Honestly, because I remember Optic when I was growing up, and it was like back in I hate to say like maybe Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 days, because like because Modern Warfare 2 was kind of like the start of it because of trick shotting and all that stuff, and then just move on to Black Ops 2, and like it was a fascinating experience to just grow up with that kind of stuff, and seeing him come back like this, it's I think that's good news. I just hope that it has a good future, to go along with that.
Yeah, and kind of what the article was it stated that he like bought the intellectual property that was Optic Gaming, so that can lead to some things. Hex has ownership in NRG in the Chicago Huntsmen. Optic Gaming has the Optic Gaming LA spot for the Call of Duty League. Per Call of Duty League rules, you are not allowed to have ownership or stake in ownership in two teams. It develops a conflict of interest. You see it with a lot of leagues, franchise leagues, things like that. This leads to a lot of speculation, like what's going to happen with those two spots. This is all my personal opinion and kind of speculation as to what's going to happen. I
Right.
think Hex keeps the Optic. He keeps Optic, but he sells that franchise spot. Sells the franchise spot, keeps the IP of Optic, and has that as his own. That's his own thing. Now, some people are saying, or maybe wanting, Optic to transition to, or the Huntsman to become the Chicago Optic rather than the Chicago Huntsman. This is something that I don't think is going to happen. They've spent a year developing this brand that is the Huntsman, working very close with NRG, the hottest esports organization out there right now. That they've spent a whole year developing, crafting, building the brand that is the Chicago Huntsman. Hex isn't just one to throw away a brand that he's been building. If anything, I see Optic becoming the content team and the Chicago Huntsman being the Call of Duty team. I think that he'll still be involved with the Chicago Huntsman and that they will stay the Huntsman. It makes no sense for them to switch the name. While the fanboy inside of me wants it to be the Chicago Optic. I mean, they're from Chicago originally. That's where like the houses were and things like that. It would be awesome to see that. I personally don't see that as happening, just because of everything that they've put into the brand that is the Chicago Huntsman. Now,
Yeah.
with that LA spot for the Call of Duty League, there people, and I am one of these people. I want it to be sold to 100 Thieves and have the LA Thieves. Nate Shot, big name in Call of Duty ever since forever, basically.
Yeah.
Call of Duty. If you say name a professional Call of Duty player to just some random person,
It,
one of, if not the most likely person for them to say is Nate
yeah,
Shot.
it's straight up Nate shot.
100%.
Perfect.
So, 100 Thieves is not in the Call of Duty League, and this is just kind of the perfect opportunity for them to get in. Now, there's been like baiting and things like that on social media. Like the day after Hex allegedly bought Optic, you see a post, an Instagram post of Nate Shot holding their Call of Duty trophies. A lot of the old 100 Thieves players start posting pictures of the Call of Duty roster holding up those trophies. They're just together in general. I think that's a lot of baiting for it to be something that's true, or they completely crisscrossed this and maybe they're buying it. Obviously, none of this is confirmed. It's not even confirmed that Hector has bought the IP for Optic Gaming. This is all just speculation and rumors at this point. I'm ready to see what comes of this and like what big announcement, because if Optic Gaming was bought back, you know that Hex is planning some kind of crazy big announcement. It's just who he is, and I'm ready to see that. That's kind of my little rant on Optic Gaming and what I think could happen with this if it's true. Is there anything that you have to add, Jared, about anything I've talked about, whether it be Call of Duty League or just Optic in general?
No, I just hope everything works out at the end, because it's to me it's all about it's all about the players that are in it at the end of the day. I mean, like, yeah, it has a good name to it. I just feel like, I just hope it, for him at least, for Hector, it would work out in the end for him.
Yeah. I mean, optics content, that's what they've always been. That's why they've been so successful. It'd be really cool to see that transition.
Yeah.
But switching from Call of Duty and the Call of Duty realm over to Overwatch. Like I'm not super invested into the Overwatch League. It's something that I follow loosely. I'm a fan of NRG as the organization. Their Overwatch team being the San Francisco Shock. Well, the Shock just went back to back, winning the Overwatch League. They won last year, 2019, and now they've won in 2020. That's huge for a few reasons. One, they went back to back. If you want one thing that you see on Twitter, and just in general, if you want to see a North American esports team win in a world setting, Overwatch is where you go. I mean, yeah, sure, some of the players may be Korean, things like that, but San Francisco Shock is a North American team, and that's one that they've won 2 years in a row. And the other kind of thing that comes with that are the endemic brands in the franchise leagues. So, out of in terms of like Overwatch and Call of Duty, the teams that have won their world championship, the London Spitfire, Cloud9's Overwatch team, the Shock, NRG's, back to back, and then the Envy's team in Call of Duty League, the Dallas Empire. They just won that world championship. These are all endemic brands that have been in the space and bought into that league. So it's not like someone who comes out and like, oh, Call of Duty League, like investors get together, let's buy it. No, it's like teams that have been established that purchased spots in these leagues and they've won it. Does that say that like endemic brands know what they're doing? Or because like you see some of these people enter the space as a sports team. They enter it like, oh, let's build something here, but they don't have the background or the experience. These endemic brands do. They know what's happening. Like your Envies, your NRGs, your Cloud9s, they've been around. They know what they're doing. They know how to build a team. Like, what does this mean going forward for all of these different things?
Was that me?
That's you. That's your cue. I posed the question, man. Come on.
I didn't know you were.
I ended with the question. That's got to be you every time.
Wait, so you're asking like what their future might be?
Okay, I'll pose it a different way. So, in these franchise leagues, and potentially future franchise leagues, does this mean that like the endemic brands are going to be the ones that win because they have been in esports and know what to do, or do you think other people are going to be able to come from different spaces, build a good team, and win?
I mean, for one, I am pretty closely connected with miracles. I believe that miracles do happen, and to me, I feel like it would be a miracle if one team were or a couple, like a group of people, just got together and was just like, let's do an Overwatch team, and then they just single-handedly beat out every single team, and we'd be able to stand out top from that. Now, I mean, for right now, if that doesn't happen, then yeah, I feel like, because with a professional team, it makes much more sense. They have more experience in this field, so they pretty much know what they're doing. But sometimes one slip can happen, and it would be time to pass on the torch to someone else. You never know, pretty much, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And with it, right now you see esports organizations running the esports space. But now more than just esports organizations are starting to get into the space. And I'm excited to see that growth. It starts to mimic more traditional sports in terms of entertainment, how leagues are set up. I love that. I love the steps that they're taking. And I'm excited to see the growth in it. It's super cool to see these esports brands that I've known and have been around my whole life winning these things once these like franchise leagues start. But there's eventually going to be a time where it's a a group of investors come together, buy the best team that money can buy, and they'll start winning. Maybe that won't be an esports organization, and maybe that'll be just some random company that decides to buy a team or buy a league spot, form a team, and then win. I mean, money could buy a brand new team, but it's cool to see right now that these esports organizations are the ones kind of leading the space in this new territory of a franchise league, at least.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a good segue into our next kind of topic, being Manchester Esports. For those of you that didn't know, we do have an esports team or teams at Manchester University. Our Manchester Esports, or Muse, as we like to refer to it, MUES. We got started. We're in the throw of things, as you would say. I do work with the esports team, so I do have some, not necessarily insider information, but I do have some information on that. So just kind of like an overview of how things are going right now for our teams. Our Rocket League team is killing it. All right, they are the best there is, plain and simple. I wouldn't go that far, but they are good. They're really good. They're undefeated in NACE and have only dropped a couple games in GLEC, the two leagues that we play in. So they're absolutely killing it. I don't know how to play Rocket League, but they're doing it.
No, honestly,
they know how.
Do you even know them, like, personally? Do you know them at all?
Oh yeah, Caleb's a great guy, and two of the guys are my residents. I'm an RA.
Okay, because like, I talked with one of my previous RAs, and I talked to them. I was like, do we know any of these people by any chance? Do you know them at all? And he's just like, no, I have never met them, never talked with them, and oh my god, are they just like...
Well, they're young.
They're the best.
We have a sophomore, and the rest are freshmen.
Oh,
That's why people don't know them. Yeah. We have, what is it, 5 people on the team. The captain's a sophomore, and the other 4 are first years.
See, I'm starting to learn this now.
They're
this is not good.
They're good now. And they've only been playing together for a couple months.
Well, I hope they stick together for future games.
Yeah, no, it's great. Great to see it. Great to see the success that they're having. I'm very excited for them as we head into the last few weeks of GLEC, and then once they get deeper into the NACE season. It's something I'm super excited for.
Yeah. Be sure to tune into that Twitch channel, though.
Yeah, we'll have a link somewhere that you can see for Manchester Esports. They're on socials, Twitter specifically, and Twitch is where you can find a lot of their stuff. But aside from Rocket League, we do have League of Legends too. So at the time that we were recording this, their most recent match was against Grace College. 2-0 sweep. They came out, they meant business, and they won. That's great to see for our League of Legends teams as they're winding down their season. Had some additions. Our Rocket League team's a really young team. League of Legends is kind of mixed, so they are. It is like almost a complete overhaul of last year's roster, just in terms of where people are playing, and what people are starting, kind of thing. So they're finally getting to the groove of things.
Like what lane they're starting in.
Yeah. What lanes they play, what roles they play. Like our mid laner from last year is now like our primary support. 2 completely different roles.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get into those grooves and find that. I mean, a 2-0 versus Grace is always nice. You'd love to see that. They're I want to say top 6 for sure. I'm pretty sure they're locked top 6 in Grace, or not Grace. That they beat Grace. GLEC is they're locked top 6 in terms of seeding. So that's nice. They picked up a nice couple dubs. Some tough losses happens throughout the season. But they're looking forward to these next couple of matches. They're looking to come out and go out with a bang. Super Smash Brothers. We have, I think, 15 people on our Super Smash Brothers team, and that means that we have 3 different teams within NACE in competition. So we have a gold, black, and white team, being the Manchester colors. They've played I think 2 matches, so they're literally just starting with their season. Our gold team is 1-1 on the season. Picked up a recent win this past week, and I mean all 3 teams are excited to get kind of more into the season, get through this group play, and kind of see where their records play out. Again, all 3 of these different teams are streamed on that Twitch channel. I really encourage you to check it out. We try to keep it fun and just to kind of showcase our players.
Right. And speaking of which, because I'm part of Spartan Stream, we will be linking this on our YouTube channel when this goes up. And through the podcast, we might not be able to, but you will be able to find it on our YouTube channel. We also have our Facebook page and Instagram and everything else. We'll post it right there for you so you can check it out. And yeah, go ahead and give us a follow there. And you're pretty much, just with this podcast alone, you're going to be given unlimited content, like, because that's what gaming is. It's a magical thing.
Yeah, and I mean, and speaking of gaming in general, we got some other news and some nice little topics to talk about as we transition our focus here. So this first one's big, and we could have talked about it earlier, but I feel like this is more big for the gaming industry as a whole, rather than esports or anything like that. So those of you that follow just gaming, esports, just very generally, would know that a couple years ago or a year or so, Ninja and Shroud signed really big contracts to go stream on Mixer. Well, Mixer doesn't exist anymore, and Ninja and Shroud got paid a lot of money for those contracts. Rumored $30 million for Ninja, rumored $10 million or plus for Shroud. So they didn't have Mixer to stream on anymore after those exclusive deals were kind of ended upon Mixer's end. Mixer was sold to Facebook Gaming, or partnered with, not sure the exact wordage there, but Ninja and Shroud opted out. They didn't want to go to Facebook. Both of them went silent for quite a bit of time. No one knew where they were going. Well, they came home. They're both on Twitch. And I'm not 100% on it, but I'm pretty sure that they're with, like, if it's not an exclusive deal, they've both made announcements about being on Twitch. I don't know if deals have been signed or what, but Ninja and Shroud are back on Twitch. That's huge.
Yeah, I agree with this move, this transfer. I did not like it originally when they were at Mixer, because being in control in, like, Microsoft's hands, it's not, because the amount of things that they've been doing with Minecraft already. Like, I get it.
I think it was a good move by Mixer to get them.
Well, yeah, but for them it's a big bonus, but, like, for the just being the streamer and being accepted by Microsoft, while it does sound like a good idea, it's like, now you're like in control of another company that just, like, you're pretty much just unfamiliar with, I guess, and you never know what they're gonna do, what their next move is to try and, like, make you stand out, I guess.
Yeah, they ended up selling Mixer.
Yeah, because I guess it didn't. I don't know. I guess it just didn't fly very well, or maybe it was, too much money to use, or whatever. I don't know. Too much money to work it, or something.
My speculation is that they shifted focuses. Realized that live streaming wasn't where they wanted to be. Sold it to Facebook, who's trying to grow in that space. Your big creators had the options to move. So you see Ninja and Shroud back on Twitch. When I saw this announcement, man, I was like, that's nutty. Just because of everything that went down. I kind of figured that Shroud would go back to Twitch. Ninja was up in the air for me. I think he could have went to YouTube Gaming, which is a growing space, so you see a lot of big streamers moving over there. But he ended up going back to Twitch, went back to what he knows, and that's kind of where he is now. Those return streams were absolutely crazy. Viewership was humongous for both of their return streams when they decided to come back to Twitch. That's always really cool to see, as someone who's kind of in the space and always watching things like this. It was really cool to see their return. It's something that I'm really excited about, and for someone like Ninja, who's just made waves in terms of gaming, like signing his deal with Adidas, releasing shoes, merch, things like that. Like, he's done more than just stream and release merch through, like, Streamlabs or, like, some random company. Like, he signed a deal with Adidas and has shoes, like shoe deals and stuff. Like, that's crazy for the space, and I'm really excited to see where these things go.
Yeah, I agree on that one. Man, this is, you can tell right now, this is like my first ever time I'm doing this. I mean,
no, man, you're doing great.
I could tell you the first time I've ever done a podcast, or not I've ever done one, but, like, when I ever like been on one was when my aunt was doing like Shakespeare stuff, and
Okay.
like that was back in 2009, 2010. It was
Huh.
like a long time ago, and
That's a while ago, honestly.
yeah, I mean the stream the podcasts and stuff. I think they're still up on iTunes, but I won't tell you what the name is so I don't embarrass myself. But you can
Oh
tell
wow. Okay.
I was on there, and um, I read because I was like I think I was in like second or third grade, and I was reading this stuff out. Like it was just it was jargon to
That's
me, but like
sound out the words. You're fine. No, you're doing a great job, man. I'm really excited for these next couple topics too because it's less esports and more just gaming. I'm a
that
big
is
Call of
true.
Duty guy, man, and I know that you play some Call of Duty with me.
I know.
We've hit that grind before, and this new one, Call of Duty Cold War. They skipped Sledgehammer. It went back to Treyarch, and we have essentially, I believe it's the sequel to the original Black Ops campaign. And Call of Duty Cold War, I'm excited for it, man. I think we both had our hands on the alpha um, last week, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
What were your opinions? I know that the beta's out right now for like PS4. I plan on playing the open beta next weekend, so I haven't seen the new build, haven't had experiences with the new build. This is just the alpha. I know that's what you played too. So what were your opinions on that?
So here's what cuz mind me right now cuz Modern Warfare with their engine is completely different to this engine that Treyarch has developed ever since Black Ops 3. Now, my first impressions of that um honestly, it's the same Call of Duty we've been getting, but this time it's much more what's the word? Like fluid, I guess.
Okay.
It feels a lot easier to play. Because I know in past Call of Duties it feels very, very basic, I guess, because like the movements don't seem. Because if I were to be like an artist saying this, movements aren't really realistic. They're just they're arcadey and everything. But this one seems like you're in it, and it also has the gameplay that it needed for a while, and it's boots on the ground, and it better stay that way. um, and then you got that, you got the movement, which they're not. There's not a double sprint anymore, so you don't have that fast sprint like Modern Warfare does. While it was a good feature for a while, it still seems like it was just a poor man's attempt to make things fast for players who liked the game to be fast. Um, in this one, it keeps the style that Black Ops 3 had, but it had more. There is more gameplay to it. They added a lot of stuff to it, and I technically enjoy it. It got me it got me thinking like comparing this one to Black Ops 1. And I'll tell you, Black Ops 1 was the first ever Black Ops, first ever Call of Duty game that I've ever got my hands on. And that game I mastered already. And taking those skills over to this one, I'm pretty sure I nailed it. Because it feels like they really cared of all the stuff that they did. And yeah, that's what I think. I think they did really well with it. This new engine is gonna work out just fine. What about you? Because I haven't heard any thoughts from you about it yet. I know we've talked about it for a little bit, but I just haven't heard what your honest opinions were on it.
It was an alpha. I think it was good for an alpha. Like I said, I'm very excited for the beta and then for the actual release of the game in November. But in terms of the alpha, there was clunkiness. But I mean, it was an alpha. There's going to be a little bit of clunkiness. Gun, like how you shoot guns, great. Gunplay, awesome. Loved that. It felt really good, really fluid. That was really nice. I am a fan of Treyarch games. I like how they flow a little bit better. I feel like I've always shot better on those games. A little bit of a bias, probably. This is my opinion. But don't. There's one thing. One thing that I am not excited about if they do not patch it, don't let people G slide. Oh my goodness. A slide should be an evasive maneuver, not something you use to engage. G slide was super abused in Black Ops 3. I am not excited if that stays in Cold War. Right now you can't do it. It is a thing. Please.
I
I just hope that that's fixed, honestly. I tend to think of games from a more competitive standpoint. I think that there are things that need updated. Already some guns and attachments that are going to need balanced right off the rip. But I know that Treyarch usually does a pretty good job setting their rule sets and things like that for competitive. So I'm not worried there. I know that they take good care of the competitive scene. But there's still some of those game breaking mechanics like the G slide or some of the crazy movement. If you take it back to a dolphin dive, oh my goodness, dolphin diving
Oh
around corners,
yes.
it's so hard to like make that game breaking. Like just take it back, make it a little bit slower. We've had super fast cracked games since. I mean, World War II was an exception, but like
Yeah.
once I was actually a fan of jetpacks. Actually, I was a fan of the jetpack era. I love playing them. But since Advanced Warfare, they've been really fast games. Black Ops 4 played super fast. Modern Warfare played super fast. Cold War, gearing up to play super fast. I know that they're not going to take the slide out. It's already a big mechanic in the game. Hopefully they can do some things to make it play a little bit slower in terms of perks or how guns play. Fix that G slide. Make it to where the slide's more of an evasive thing, not something you use to get into people's face with that kind of braking mechanic. Other than that, I think the game's really solid. I'm really excited to get my hands on it and to actually play it this coming weekend for the open beta, and then for it to actually come out in November. I'm really excited for these things to happen. I'm excited to get my hands on it. I think that it's shaping up to be a really good Call of Duty.
Now I wanted to touch up on that point you just made about the G sliding, because like you said it shouldn't be used for like engaging in a gunfight, but more of like an evasive maneuver. Um, so if we compare this, would you agree more with the sliding in Modern Warfare?
Ghosts, not Modern Warfare.
Oh, and
You should
Ghosts.
not be able to cancel a slide. So you can slide cancel in Modern Warfare. Game breaking mechanic. You slide cancel around a corner, pop up, shoot them. No, you should not be able to slide cancel. If you slide, you should have to sit through the full slide. And that's just my personal opinion on that. I don't think that you should be able to cancel a slide. Like if you start sliding, you can't cancel that by aiming down a gun, which is what you've done in the past few games, or by like slide jump slide or whatever. Like I don't know. I could show you on my paddles, but I could not like say it out loud. In terms of like how to slide cancel, all the different ways. If you slide, you should have to go through the full slide, not be able to cancel it. The ghost slide was a nice slide.
Yeah, it
Aside
did
from
have
the
the
snaking, the snaking out of a slide, a little bit weird, but snaking's a whole different topic.
yeah. I mean, um, I guess what would I was gonna say something else with the sliding. Um, would you say that the good thing about it is that the physics in there, where like if you're going down, like down the stairs and you're sliding, you'll pick up speed. Do you agree with that, or is that just
The slide is really fast in this game. Either way, I don't think there's ever been the slow or not slowed down.
Because I
Um,
will I will agree with you on that though, because I've had I found myself doing that a lot, where I go down the stairs while sliding and I pick up so much speed that I cancel my slide and start bunny hopping so that I could go over really fast. And while it is
Game breaking mechanics.
while it is a fun ride, yeah, I agree, because like I feel like I don't think Call of Duty's ever found the middle ground, at least in terms of gameplay, because they went slow for like the past games, but then all of a sudden for futuristic, and then to Modern Warfare, and to now it's like it's still up to fast because of what happened back then.
I
With their,
disagree.
because I mean that's
Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 played relatively fast, wasn't super slow, but it wasn't crazy fast like these new games. I think Black Ops 2 was their happy medium.
okay. I can kind of see that though.
It played faster. It was faster than the games before it, but it wasn't like super crazy fast.
Right. I wouldn't say because like yeah I wouldn't say Black Ops 2 was fast, just there. But like yeah I'm pretty sure Black Ops 2 is kind of the medium. Um, Only because I think I think it's the way they design their maps, pretty much, and the mechanics that they use. I think both come into play with this because like honestly, you didn't really see. I didn't really see myself in Black Ops 1 like getting a kill every single like minute, um, or second actually. Minute sounds like a long time in Call of Duty terms. Um, but more of like as of nowadays, it's like you kill one and then like you have to kill another person like a half a second later, kind of thing. So it's like that fast in those in the newer games. Black Ops 2 wasn't like that. I can agree with you on that one.
Yeah. Enough about Call of Duty. Let's get into some other games. I'm
All
sure
right.
that we'll talk a lot about Call of Duty in the future. Let's touch on some of these other ones really quick. I'm personally really excited for this next game. Big Legend of Zelda fan. I love Breath of the Wild. I think it's arguably one of the best games. Um, Hyrule Warriors is not main series Zelda, but the one that they're releasing, Hyrule Warriors: The Age of Calamity, gives us backstory for Breath of the Wild. So if you played Breath of the Wild, you know that it takes place 100 years after the Calamity. You get cutscenes and hear stories about what happened, see all the ruins in Hyrule, but we don't get to witness that Hyrule as it was, kind of until now. And just as like the Zelda nerd in me, I love this. I love that we get that backstory. Ever since it said it took place 100 years after the Calamity, I was like, what about the Calamity? Let me hear more about this. So we get more about the champions, about Link and Zelda and their relationship, and kind of what all goes into that. And I'm ready to really dive into this game. I'm not one to play kind of. I usually play main series games. I didn't play the original Hyrule Warriors because it was just kind of this separate thing. But this one, like, they worked directly with developers of Breath of the Wild to make sure that the backstory lined up and that there were mechanics from the game. So I'm really excited for this one personally, just to see more about this rendition of like Hyrule.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten the game yet.
Oh, you're missing out. You have
I,
to
d-
play Breath of the Wild.
I need to. I've looked at the only thing that's concerning me is the price tag, and I know it's worth it, right?
Oh, it's
Because it's
so much worth it. Oh my goodness.
I just got to get
There's
that next
so many
paycheck.
things to do. Yeah. You definitely need to play it. Highly recommend. Anyone who hasn't played Breath of the Wild, I recommend it. They've announced the sequel. I'm super excited for that. There's not all it was an announcement, but I'm really excited for that one too. So I'm not going to go on a big Zelda rant here. We'll go ahead and move on. This other topic, pretty close to me, um, Shadowlands, the next World of Warcraft expansion, has been delayed. So, generally, reactions to when things are delayed, people start booing, like, oh no, like you delayed the game, like I hate you, kind of thing. That's not true for this one, and I'm actually really intrigued by this. The WoW community in general is really happy that Blizzard decided to delay Shadowlands, and personally, I'm happy too. Like it's almost like they're completely redoing a lot of things with the game. First ever level squish. I mean, this is something that needs to be done right. Like, don't release a game that's not finished, and that's exactly what they decided to do. They said, you know what, we're not ready for this. Let's delay it and let's see what happens. And the fact that the community reacted in such a positive way really makes me happy, because that shows like all of the producers and developers of all these games that, well, if the game's not finished, delaying is an option. Like that people want a nice finished game, so why not delay it and just make sure we get that to them.
Yeah, and now for me, I have not played the World of Warcraft series at all, but I do like what they're doing with this, because I mean, yeah, I agree, because like there's been like a couple games that I've been hoping for, and then all of a sudden it gets delayed, and then everyone in the comment section starts booing them like crazy, and I just pulled this up like just since we started, and because you were talking about the reactions, and I went down there, and I have not seen one bad comment at all on this. Like, just scrolling down right now, it's not even like, none of it is negative. All of it is like, if I had to quote someone right now, it just says like, nice to know quality still matters. Which, thank God, quality should always matter. Because, like, if you pay so much money for one game, and then once you get it, the expectations are high, because everyone's going to be like, well, this is going to be on the next generation. This is going to be really cool. And then all of a sudden they just it up. Oh, whoops. They screw it up. I can censor myself. It's fine. Or I could just cut it out. I don't know. But, just seeing that, it's, it brings a tear to my eye. Doesn't it for you, though?
Yeah, I'm really excited for it personally. Honestly, like the fact that they delayed it, it shows that they do care about quality. That Blizzard isn't lost in the sauce, and it's just like in all that money. I'm really excited for that personally. I'm glad that they decided to do that. I think it's the best move that they could have done. So this next topic is controversial. Xbox versus PS5. All right.
Oh boy.
So yeah, this one it gets heated. Console wars, man. South Park did a whole series of episodes about it. It was like a Game of Thrones kind of thing. It was awesome. But here we go. Xbox versus PS5. Personal opinion. What do you think, Jared?
All right. So I pulled this up just to see exactly, to refresh my memory on this, because like I know PlayStation 5 has been talking about their SSD for a while, and it's designed by Sony to pretty much have the M.2 controller on there to also work a lot faster. I think, and what they've said ever since the beginning when they were talking about it, they said that their main goal is to pretty much just take away loading screens. Now, and that's kind of what I got from it, because I know my uncle was really crazy about it, and he showed me the video. It's like, oh, cool. But like, and then you just compare it to Series X. While they didn't have, I guess, I don't think they ever said that, but I think they were trying to aim for, pretty much the similar specs that PlayStation 5 had, whatever. Because as I'm looking at it right now, all right, Series X, PlayStation 5, the CPU with the X is 3.8 gigahertz. With the I think the 8X, I forget what that is sometimes. Because it's definitely not 8 cores, because it's a processor. It's a Zen processor. So this is like a really good processor on the market. And 3.8 for the X, 3.5 for the PlayStation 5. But that doesn't stop there, all right? The GPU, 12 teraflops compared to the 10.28 teraflops on the PlayStation 5. With, of course, the Series X leading in that area. But it still doesn't stop there. You got the RAM, 16 gigs, GDDR6, which is a lot newer than I ever heard of. I know DDR3, DDR4. GDDR6 is like a term for GPUs, but I never knew it was able to be applied to a different slot like this. So I don't know. I guess there was a particular purpose for it, or they just created this for consoles only. I don't know. But of course, both are the same with 16 gigs. But PlayStation 5 has a 256-bit, which, just to assume, it's probably it probably is a way to read a lot faster, I assume. Um, then there's the memory bandwidth, with PlayStation 5 leading in that place already. Can you take a stab at what that speed is?
I don't. I'm not a technical guy.
Haha, 448 gigs per second. So take a game like GTA 5. Just looking at that tells me that GTA 5 could possibly load in like 2 seconds. I mean, I know the world's not that big, but or the game size, the installation size is not that big. That's what I meant to say. But with that memory bandwidth, you can load into GTA 5 super quick. And the same thing goes for the Series X, because it says, there's 6 gigs at 336 gigs per second, while the other one is 10 gigs at 560 gigs per second. And while they do have those two different memory bandwidths, the PlayStation 5 still stands up top because why? The SSD, their custom SSD works on this, and it's 825 gigs, standard, I believe. With of course their expandable storage. You know how in PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, you have the way to take the SSD out or the hard drive out. This time you could put in a new one, and this one's the same way, but they also have an expandable slot on it, so it's pretty cool to see that. And Series X has still not managed to master that yet. But if I had to compare them, just by looking at this chart, I'd say the one to pretty much win it all in performance is probably going to be the 5. I'm not 100% on it because CPU and GPU both they're lacking right now. It still has, I think it's saying a lot to see how they're just downsizing it a little bit, because if you compare it like design wise, because take like a laptop like this one that I have up here. It's a laptop with 6 cores in it, has a GPU, and has pretty much all the things you would get in a desktop, but they've slimmed it. It's very slim. And compare it to these consoles with all these high tier graphics and all this power. Seeing the PlayStation 5 a little slimmer than the Series X, it says a lot. But I don't know. What do you think, Trevor? Because I know you're an Xbox fan, but if you had to pick one or the other, which one would it be?
Personally, neither. That's just me. I use a PC, but in terms of this battle, in terms of Xbox versus PlayStation, I think that PlayStation wins. I think that comes from exclusives, who they sell to, markets, things like that. PlayStation has a better global market than Xbox does. Facts. They will win. They will sell more consoles. That's how it's always worked. That's how it will continue to work. In the battle between Microsoft and Sony, I think that Microsoft wins. Microsoft has shifted. They have said themselves that they're not focused on the consoles anymore. They're focused on the experiences. Microsoft just bought Bethesda, or the company that owns Bethesda. What does that mean for future games? We can't know. All right. So I think in terms of this battle, PlayStation beats Xbox. But I think in the overall war, Microsoft tops Sony currently with some of the things that they've managed to get a hold of, like Bethesda. I mean, Skyrim, that is arguably or the Elder Scrolls, that whole series, arguably one of the biggest series, has one of the biggest audiences of like a single game.
Yeah.
Microsoft owns that. So, if you look at it, I think that Microsoft beats Sony, but the PlayStation 5 beats the Xbox. And that's my opinion on it.
Right. And if you wanted to say this, right? There is 2 options for the PlayStation 5. There is the one with the disc drive, and there's one without it, which means pretty much everything is going to be digital, and you have to download things from the internet. You have to deal with your internet 100% of the time. You personally, would you be looking for a cheaper console in this case or a more expensive one?
If I'm buying a console, I'm buying the cheaper one, and if I'm buying one, it's the Series S, the $300 version of the Xbox, which it's a slight downgrade from the Series X, but overall, worlds better than the current Xbox One X. So if I buy a console, I won't buy a console. I don't play first like or one player exclusive games. It's just not the kind of gamer I am. I'm more of an MMO or like I'll play my Nintendo Switch for my RPGs. So personally, I don't buy a console. I've suggested to friends if you really like the exclusives like your God of Wars and things like that, buy the PlayStation. It's gonna be worth it. If you don't like those games, buy the Series S because it's gonna perform almost just as well as the Series X and both PlayStation 5s.
And honestly, if I had to add in my 2 cents, oh my god, because like, with this whole console wars thing, I mean, like, they're doing what they're doing. Nintendo's just watching them, but they don't want to like join that war.
Never have.
Which is good for them, yeah. But like, then, pretty much at the end of the day, what do you think? Does PC top them all, or?
That's a whole nother debate, and I mean, I'm sure we could do a whole podcast just on that. I don't want to get too much into that today, just because we could probably go for hours on that. I personally play on PC. It's just what I do. Works best for me in my situation. If you're someone who just wants to play some games, consoles are perfectly fine. I'm excited for this next generation, this next wave, mainly because of the games. Sony's starting to release more stuff coming to PC. Microsoft is Xbox and it's PC. So, as a PC gamer, I'm excited for the things that are coming out, and I think that topic is a loaded one that we could discuss at a later date.
That is true. Yeah, that's it's gonna be a good war, to say the least.
Yeah, no, it's a battle. I think the war is done. I think Xbox has said that they're done with all this, that they want to focus more on their games and their development. So I think that this is the last battle in the console war. Looking at numbers sold, Sony, PlayStation wins that just because of their global audience and things like that. But I think in terms of looking at the United States, it really is a battle with a big split in that population as to who buys what kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's to come, and I'm excited to cover more topics like this. I think this has been a great podcast, and I'm excited to see all of you back again the next time. See you around.
Yeah, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also be sure to follow us on Spotify whenever you get the chance. Of course, we can't force you to, but if you want to listen to more of this content and never miss an episode, please go ahead and drop that follow. And please subscribe, because we are back. I didn't know if you guys knew about this, but we are back. We're going to make new content in the near future, because we do have things coming up, and we are excited to show it to you guys. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you in the next episode.
Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe. Check out the description. We will see you later.
Peace.